I've often been told by other women that Kenyan men are the most romantic on the planet, and we were like, what do you mean Kenyan men are the most romantic on the planet? Like, it's not planet, right? In Africa. What do you mean Kenyan men are the most romantic in Africa? Like, we do not understand. Hey, sir, you're competing against Spanish, English, people with accents.
No, English leave them, but the Spanish, yeah.
So we were just shocked. So hence why I wanted to come back to my home country and bring it forward between two men. The first question: two single men, right?
Kenyan men, yeah.
Two single Kenyan men. Do you agree? I mean, obviously the answer is going to be yes, but like, do you agree?
Yes.
Do you feel that Kenyan men are romantic? Do you guys believe yourselves to be romantic?
If you know, the answer is obviously yes.
I'm just assuming because I would never say no to a question like that.
I think Mwas will go
I'll go first. So the first thing I'll ask you a question. The person you're chatting with.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Is she a Kenyan or she's just someone who was visiting?
South Africa, and she was visiting Kenya.
Then went back to South Africa to live there.
She actually was we were in Ghana at the same time, and then she went back home.
She met, from what I've heard, she met a guy from Kenya.
But what I'm asking is, when she was in Kenya, she was a visitor.
Yes, she was a visitor.
Then she went back to South Africa, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, now here we go.
Yeah.
Number one, I'll say, Eileen, you are one of the worst ambassadors of this country.
How dare you? What do you want me to do? Fly a Kenyan flag?
You can't be telling her that's Kenyan men for you.
I'm speaking from experience.
You're one of the worst ambassadors.
Do you want me to lie on behalf of you?
No, you know why I'm telling you that? Because, and then this is why I asked that question. This Chile is a visitor in Kenya. So you want this guy to drop the Chiles he has for a tourist? Does that even make sense? Tourist, you're supposed to come here, we have fun for the time you're here. Then once we are done with having fun, you go back to your place. I go back to my people.
Okay, that's all well and good, but I guess this is maybe something I should have specified. The way she made it seem was like the way he presented himself in that relationship was, I love you so much. Like, I'm going to worship you. Like, everything you want is yours, right? So like that kind of treatment doesn't make you think there's somebody else in the picture.
From what you told the lady,
Chile.
Yeah,
it's like you agreeing with her that that's Kenyan men for you. So what's your experience with Kenyan men that you need to say that you expected the same thing?
Before she can answer that, yeah, she asked us a question.
So you have an
think
answer.
Kenyan men are romantic?
I think we are the most romantic.
Studies have been done. It's not even me saying. Studies have been done showing that most women in Africa prefer us
shocked
to most men in Africa.
I am shocked.
So that's your answer. Facts.
Okay, so the reason why I am shocked is that my experience with Kenyan men for the most part has been iffy at best. I will admit that I am partly to blame because the person I was in those relationships is not who I am now, and that person was immature and not really ready for commitment, all these things that don't really make a relationship successful, right? Having said all these things, I will need to say I am in love with a Kenyan man. He's great. He's super romantic. But I don't want to say he's the exception because that seems...
But why will you have to sell to this chick? Why us single? Now you're denying us opportunity to bargain this.
Do what?
Her man is okay. Everyone else is a douchebag. That's a problem. But mine is
okay. See, it goes back to what I said at the very beginning of this episode. This idea that somebody's only ever willing to put in the effort for something they care about. So maybe the people that I was with just didn't care about me the way I wanted them to care about me, right?
So you're being selfish.
Not being selfish.
You want it to be all about you, and I'm just being a man to you. Maybe. So for me, I can only spend 2 hours with you in a day, probably, right?
Yeah.
But you want 6 hours.
Yes.
So when I'm not able to, you're this guy is not even romantic.
And I think that's the conversation that I want us to have, right? Because like you said, if the best of your ability is 2 hours, but I want 6, right? Does that mean that we can't work together, or should I just communicate my expectations, and if you can't meet them, we move our separate ways? If there's no compromise, we move our separate ways? I guess to start this conversation, what is romance to you guys?
No, you tell us. You're the Chile. You expect that from us. So what is romance?
Wait. Do you guys not expect? But do you guys not expect romance?
Different. Romance for me is different from I think what romance is to you.
Because you're the one who's accusing us of not being romantic.
Okay, so
even though the studies have shown that
you're the
we
best,
are,
man. Hands down.
so just tell us what is this? Why do you disagree with the studies?
Okay, so the reason why I disagree with the studies is that, like I said, my experience of Kenyan men has been rather iffy.
Yeah.
Right? It's that thing of, I'm not sure if it's a Kenyan man or if it's not sure the kind of men I was dating. I'm not sure if it's me or a pattern or whatever.
Hope when you say Kenyan men, it's not an experience with one or two.
No. You forgot that I grew up here, right? So majority of my formative sexual experiences were with Kenyan men.
Okay.
Right? I didn't start to venture outwards until I was maybe 19.
Okay.
Right?
So you have numbers here in Kenya.
Sure, I have numbers.
Okay.
Not many, but I have numbers.
Okay.
We don't judge.
We don't judge.
So like the experiences I had, and maybe this was me not communicating my expectations, which is something that I've learned that I need to do, is like this guy will treat you like you are his entire world, which leads you to believe that you are the only one. And then when you learn that you are not, it's like, bro. Right? Like, why didn't you? We could have had this. Why weren't you honest in the beginning? Like, we've now gotten into a place where in my mind, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but to you, we're just chilling.
I'm confused because every time you're talking about this thing, you are putting yourself as the one who was the problem, who didn't understand.
It's because
so is it still you?
No,
or we still
so the reason I do that, I think number one maybe comes from my own mental health issues, but I also think it comes from I don't know what you're thinking, and because I never had those conversations, I never had that closure, I can never say what it is you're thinking. I only know what it is that I did. I only know what it is that I did wrong, so I can only reflect on my mistakes.
So am I wrong to say that we can assume that all the guys you had?
You're wrong.
Let me just put it out.
Okay, so I'll finish.
My hypothesis is all these guys you were with, you had a poor communication thing going on with you.
Yeah, and I actually think it was.
So the problem is not Kenyan men are not romantic. We are romantic, but from your experience, you've had people who don't know how to communicate.
No. I think it's also like number one, that whole like lack of communication thing, but I also think it's. You know, when somebody does like a big gesture for you, like they buy you dinner or they get you a necklace or jewelry, or like you've been talking about this, I don't know, like this experience you've been wanting to do for so long, and then they manage to make it happen, like the basic romantic things, right? The reason why I'm skeptical of like the romance of Kenyan men, right, is that when you realize that all those things were being done that made you feel so special and so loved and so wanted, and then you realize that you're not the only one, it takes the romance away, because now you're wondering, like, did he just do these things so we could just sleep together, or so you could keep my company? Right?
So you're accusing these guys of cheating.
I'm not accusing. It's like when you find out, hey, I'm not the only one. This is not me thinking like, oh, he smells like a different girl, he must be cheating on me. No, this is me finding out with concrete proof I am not the only one.
But that's not Kenyan. That's men.
That's everyone. So hence why I asked, what is your idea of romance, right? Because is it that like there's a lack of communication? Because romance, a big part of romance is that communicative aspect, or is it that what Kenyan men believe to be romance, or rather what men in general believe to be romance, is not what women typically accept as romantic
to me romance
expressions.
To me, the Kenyan romance is the gestures you've talked about, like you've wanted to be taking out to dinner, just taking you dinner. To me, romance is just doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing, or more, but things that will make this other guy feel yes, they can live without it. Me taking you to dinner, I don't have to. You can take yourself to dinner. I don't have to do stuff for you. I don't have to cook for you. But it will just feel nice me cooking to you. I don't have to tell you look nice, blah, blah. I can just leave you. Romance is the gestures that show that you appreciate this person more, you care about this person more, you value this person more. Doing stuff that you are not supposed to do, but you just do them because you want to do them.
Okay. What about you, Mwas?
What romance looks like to me?
While you're answering that, can you also answer what it is that, like, what you consider to be romantic, like what you want a girl?
That's what I'll answer actually.
Okay.
Because I was very lucky that when I was dating, I don't want to say too much, but I was lucky that at some point when I was younger, I dated 2 people. Again, not at the same time, but I was lucky that the women that came into my life, they were good women. God looked at me and like,
God blessed you.
Yeah, this guy is a good person. So the 2 Chiles that I dated, they did something that I loved. They would come over to my place. They would take care of the home. They would prepare food.
Oh, by the most, let me just clarify.
Yes.
Are you saying that in your life you've only dated 2 Chiles? These are the 2 Chiles that you need to?
That like these are the ones that made an impact.
I've
that
only
left a
dated
mark.
2 Chiles.
Really?
Yes.
And both of them were like.
They were nice.
Interesting.
Man, you're so
I fumbled, man. I fumbled, yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so they would do those things. They would do those things for me, and I loved that, and I loved them for that. So to me, that was, I wouldn't say romance, but that was the epitome of. I was in a happy relationship. Everything was good. So if you ask me what romance looks like, for me, it's a Chile like that. I would even use the word. They were traditional women for me. That's the only thing I crave for. So if I was to find a Chile who does what they did, and I'm comparing, which is not fair, but for me that is romance, that is love, that is everything I need in a woman.
Okay,
that's it.
So like, allow me to combine both of your answers, right? So like, both of you are saying that to be romantic means to spend time with the other person, to take care of them, to basically be a positive presence in their life, and like do things that make them happy without them asking for it.
Yeah, to me is
right.
Things that you don't need to do, but you just do them because.
Okay, so if that's the case, right, and we have established that I guess the 2 Kenyan men on this podcast are very capable of that,
romantic,
right? The
2 single romantic
Kenyan men are very capable of this. My very unsingle Kenyan man is very capable of this. Then why is it that Kenyan women feel so strongly to the point where we are not necessarily advertising it to other African women, but corroborating their negative experiences of Kenyan men? Like, is it that like the grass is greener on the other side? Is it that we don't appreciate it, or what?
Do your opinion hold any ground if we've been voted the most romantic for like 3
years in a row?
3 years in a row,
like 2018, 2019, 2021.
Who's been voting? See,
it's African women.
True,
not Kenyan. Kenyan women have voted, but like I feel like they vote for somebody else.
I think our prophet is not appreciated at home or something like that, and this concept of the grass is always green on the other side. Yes, it's true, it's green on the other side, but it's because those people water the grass, they take care of the grass. You see, right now
it's a new.
The unknown is very nice.
You've not known.
We've had some foreigners in this country, and the experience is not always the best with our Kenyan women, and vice versa. And I do believe the best man for a Kenyan woman is a Kenyan man, and vice versa, and everything. But we'll never appreciate each other because we've stayed around each other for so long that in sharing you say tumezoeana. If you try and marry or date a Chile that umezoeana na yeye, it will never work.
You won't appreciate.
Wait, hang on. Why not?
It doesn't. I'll give you an example right now. I won't mention names, but there's a Chile I used to like. generally. But the thing with her is
from these two.
No, not from the two. Those two.
Is the third one now?
Those two.
Potential number 3.
In the tier system, they're elite. This one was just a potential. It was just a potential I was considering. And this is why I never dated this person before. Tuko tumezoeana to an extent where we would joke about just about anything, and those jokes zingevuka mpaka to a point where it was just tunazoeana ile. You know, like, hey, if this chile I was to date her now, I was spending time there in a different setting, it would not work. A bit of mystery, a bit of kidogo respect, a bit of restraint is very important. Now, the difference between you and I here, no, not even the difference, that we hang around each other so much that you know my weaknesses, my strengths, everything, to a point where you don't even respect me because I've done some nasty shit or crazy shit. Then you're like, these guys are all
you don't feel like the person you're supposed to be with should know you as this friend knew you, like know your weaknesses.
No, I believe that's what I'm saying. Mystery is very important. Right now I could see a chile walking down the street. I'm like, hey, this chile man is a 10 out of 10. But guess what? The guys in her hood, they can't touch her with a 10-foot pole. They're like, the bodies on this chile, all the nuts that this person has done, they know everything about her. They're like, and vice versa also. They're like, there's no way I would katia this chile. You walk with a chile, so how is Kish with this chile?
So maybe the Kenyan chicks knows.
Yeah, it's kind of that, like that thing of like
yes. So that you want the miss, like, hey, it's a Nigerian. This is mysterious. Let me try this. But if you know, I understand why that happens, but I still remain. My view still remains: the best person for a Kenyan woman is a Kenyan man, and vice versa. Stick with your men.
I think that's true because our friend Aileen can attest to that.
4 years strong, baby.
You see, and you see, the thing is, if you're not looking for, because some people get into these relationships looking to prove or to disprove something. Like all men are trash. Like, you see, let me date this. I was dating a Kikuyu. Let me try a Jaluo.
You have a
let
point.
Me try, just to show that. And to create what do you call it? Like when you're doing your research, you have this. I tried it here, so I have this list of all men, all Kikuyu men are this, all men from Turkana. Don't do that. Go into it, genuinely giving it a shot. Like, let me see what happens with this, whatever, and then. I'm the worst person to give this nini because
clearly the worst person.
Okay, what do you mean clearly? We know nothing about your dating history.
Because I don't have the numbers.
We know nothing about your dating history. For all we know, your numbers are 0.